I've never felt safer in my life. Come down here and just look around me, there's just safety everywhere. You got that up? The purpose of our organization is literally to instill in people a passion, energy, a passion for excellence. So I'm curious if any of you are leaders. Any of you leaders? Any of you have people on board too? Okay. Does a person that's focused on excellence maintain safety tracks? Should. Okay, so if they're actually focused on excellence, they do, right? Engaged people focus on safety, don't they? What we find in the research globally is people that are engaged, people that are dedicated to what they do, people that are happy at work, focus on those things, and we don't have them this issue. Where do most of our safety issues come from? Lack of paying attention, with an attitude every once in a while. Some of that, right? Just plain stupid people. We don't have any of those. No, we don't have any of that. So we're kind of excited to be here and talk about this. Just give you a little bit of an introduction into your day, and hopefully you have a great conference here. When I was a young man, I had the opportunity to learn a little bit about leadership. Had two experiences that informed me. The first one happened when I was just a wee lad. I grew up in the Rocky Mountains of Utah, in a place called Winona, Centipede. Anybody know about it? Yeah? Yeah, towards Ottomans, Sanpete. I had what I call a full opportunity to go spend a full week working with a friend of mine whose father raised sheep. He had sent us up into the mountains to spend a full week working with his sheep herd. Imagine our excitement. I knew in 10 minutes I didn't want to be a sheep herder. In fact, I really didn't want to be there, but there we were. And we spent the week there with that sheep herder. Now, the job of the sheep herder is pretty simple. It's to get the sheep to the upper pastures in the summer. Good for the sheep, abundance of food, good temperatures. Really the right thing to do. The only way that a sheep herder knows how to do this is to get on a big horse, to set high above those sheep, then get around behind them and start to drive them towards the goal. The sheep have no idea what's going on. They just know this dude on a big horse is behind them, pushing them along. Now, you listen to the use of a barking dog, isn't it? And they elicit fear when those sheep nip at their heels, lest they wander off after their own interests. As he starts to push and drive, invariably, some of the sheep will wander away into the bush. He has to go get them up. About the time he gets back, the others have wandered away in another direction. He has to go gather them. It takes a full week to get those sheep to the upper pasture. But on Friday morning, we arrive. There we are. Sheep herder, horse, dog, filthy, tired, miserable experience all along. But not for the sheep. When the sheep see that upper pasture on Friday morning, they say to themselves, wow. Well, that's really what they said when we recorded it. Wow, look at that abundance of food. That's going to be here all summer. Feel that cool breeze? I'm going to get this wool off of me. What a great place. You know, somebody would have communicated with us about this. We would have come up here by ourselves. But they felt compelled to drive us here. When I got older, I went to a different part of the world, and there were shepherds there. Shepherds have the same job fundamentally. It's to get the sheep to the upper pasture, but they do it in an entirely different way. In that part of the world, there are many flocks, many shepherds. And in the evening, they come together into a common corral for defense. Two remain while the others rest. In the morning, each shepherd, one at a time, will open the gate to the corral and call their sheep. And we learned four interesting things about leadership. First, shepherds were walking at the same level of their sheep. Second, they also have a dog. But the dog is raised with the sheep and is friend to them and defends against predators. Third, sheep don't follow because they're stupid. The only sheep that leave the corral are those that hear their shepherd's voice. And fourth, shepherds lead from the front. Is there a contrast between those two styles? Is there a difference? Right? You know leaders that have to set up on a big horse, have to set up on a big pedestal, right? Speak from the mountaintop, don't set an example, don't get involved, don't do, you know the people. Some of you might be those people. Huh? Take a look, see where you're at. I think you'd be better off walking along with your people. I think you'd be better off having set an example for your people, having a dog with fans instead of the past. It's an interesting learning that I experienced when I was young, and it's made a difference since. What's interesting about the shepherd is they just simply begin to walk to the upper pasture and the sheep follow after them. Because they are so well cared for, they want to be where that shepherd is. Does this make sense? What happens if I take care of my people? What do they end up doing? They take care of me, and they take care of my customers, whoever that is. Right? When people are engaged, invested, passionate, they do the right things. And so I don't have to worry about it as much. That's the secret to improving the numbers that you see in safety and many other areas. It's about getting people who want to be safe. And if I have employees like that, things are going to be good. Now, as a leader, your responsibilities are quite simple. Marilyn Carlson of Carlson Companies suggested that successful places should be great places where great people can do great work. Now, that's an awful lot of greatness for 8:30 in the morning, isn't it? Isn't it? How many of you believe in greatness sexually? Loosen up your shoulders as you tap. Get those up. Really? You guys believe in greatness? You don't do anything about that. I ask that everywhere I go, whether in Melbourne or Mumbai, it doesn't matter. Everybody raises their hand. Yeah, I want greatness. And then I go out and spend the day and I work with them. I interview them and I walk around and I don't see people working on greatness. Never have to either. I don't see people working with greatness, even the ones that raise their hand. I don't see people with a process that leads to greatness. I don't see people with a leadership process that help create greatness in their people. We think we believe in it, but we don't do anything about it. Anybody ever have problems like that with working out, reading, eating right? Any of that? Anybody? My only one? No. Actually, I don't. I'll figure it out. It's a big deal. Do I know what a great place would be? Do I know what it would look like? Do I know the elements of it? Do I know what great work is? And what that looks like? Do I appreciate it, value it, recognize it? Do I know what great people are? Different question. How many of you actually believe in the greatness of people? You're going to be more intuitive now. Raise your hand. I'm sure. The more we pick, the worse it gets. How many again believe in the greatness of people? Okay, that's good news. That means you should be spending your time working on it. On your own first, and others second. As a part of that process. How are we going to get to greatness? How are we going to understand it? Have you ever been to Death Valley? California? Yeah. Studied it in school, heard about it. What's it famous for? Hottest place in the world. Right below sea level, hottest place in the world. It's called Death Valley for a reason. What drives that? Now, this gentleman here said sand. That's exactly right. The sand just thrives there. Been doing amazing. In fact, decade in and decade out, sand is doing amazingly well in Death Valley. Great. Until 2005. Through the winter of 2004, Death Valley received 7 inches of rain. It's unexpected. And in the spring of 2005, Death Valley became a tropical wildfire. Called a super. Every color imagined. Turns out the seeds lying just beneath the soil in Death Valley were not dead, just dormant, waiting to receive all of the conditions necessary for their growth. Rain being the last, when they received it, they did what they do naturally. They sprouted, they grew, they blossomed, they bloomed. Beautifully, perfectly. Seeds do that. So that when they have what they need to be successful, it's the leader's job, to make sure that that's the case. All around the world, all the research we have, everything we do tells us that the immediate supervisor of an employee has the greatest impact on their happiness, on their engagement. That's a lot of responsibility, isn't it? And you don't always take that responsibility, do you? Think about it. Sometimes you don't worry about it. You just give orders, you hope they go out and get to work with it. That's how some of us get it. But most of the world, in fact, we're just not doing good as we can. How many of you are doing perfect with that? These guys are fun. By the way, do you guys know where leaders sit when they come to the vision? Maybe not. In the back. You know that's not true, don't you? So this will be the last time that any of you sit in the back. Oh, leaders sit in the front. They lead from the front. Right? We will pick on you just a path. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Somebody said, who said that? Dr. Susan Sunday. Right? So lead. Lead. If you came to a meeting, if you call a meeting of all your employees, would you want them to sit in the back and not take notes? Go ahead, shout. No, but you did that. So what would you expect them to do? Leadership is a real thing. It's serious. Greatness is a real thing. And it takes sacrifice, and it takes work, it takes effort, consciousness, study. We gain knowledge, we gain understanding. We become a leader, and we do leadership things. We do leadership things. We lead from the front. All of us lead from the front. It's important. It gets us where we want to go. We believe that within everyone lies the seeds of greatness. I think that means the potential. But most of us need help to get to it. Would you agree? Most of us need a little guidance, a little help, and that's okay. That's why we're here together. But in there is greatness. Those seeds are not dead. How many of you have people that you're not sure they really are alive or not? Anybody have that? Yeah, we all run into those every once in a while. We're not sure if they're dead or just dormant. Either way, I can't get them to wake up. We have the ability to do it in most cases, not all, but in most cases, we have the ability to inspire and get to this idea of greatness if I'm focused on it. But do I even have a purpose statement that guides my leadership to tell me that I'm focused on it? Any of you have a purpose statement that you sit down and work on and written so that you know what you're reading about? You have a purpose statement for your life so you know why you get up in the morning? If not, it's pretty hard to achieve things. That's the way to get there. Analyze who you want to be in every role of your life, and then set some goals and determine that you want to get some where it's going to be about greatness. Then this first job, if you're taking notes, capture these two things. The first job is to place yourself and then your people in a position to succeed. You familiar with Jim Collins' book, Good to Great? If not, that's one of the books you want to get to read, Good to Great. And it talks about this idea of putting people in the right seats on the right bus. And that's what this is. Place people in a position to succeed. First, do that for yourself. If you don't have the circumstances you need to be successful, change them. But get yourself in a position where you can succeed from there. Don't put up with things that aren't helping you. Make the changes necessary, but be dedicated to getting yourself into a position to succeed. That's what every play out on that field is about. That's what Coach Leahan talks about every week of his life with his players. We are going to conduct ourselves in a way that puts us in a position to advance the ball towards the goal and ultimately score. Placing yourself in a position requires a game plan. There are always two creations. The first one is mental. The second one is physical. When you're going to build a house, you create a blueprint. Is that right? Every detail. Before we've ever touched the ground, we create a blueprint. Then from the blueprint, the plan, and the process, we build the house. So that's the second creation. That's how you have to do it with your life. That's how you have to do it with your people. Determine what you want to have happen. Create a process that will take you. If you don't have a process, a programming system, it's not likely to get there. Find out how to place your people in a position to succeed. Get whatever help you need. Read whatever you need to read. But put them in a position to succeed. If something happens that informs you or not. On the third trip, he goes to South America. Even what he's been doing in other countries, he's assembling wheelchairs, placing children in them. And he's just finished a larger wheelchair. And he picks up this damaged 11-year-old boy and sets him in his new wheelchair. And as Barry turns to walk away, this boy reaches out and grabs a hold of him by the leg and won't let him. Barry looks down at him, and the boy is talking in his native tongue as fast as he can. Tears are welling up in the boy's eyes. Barry's taken aback by this, doesn't know what to do, looking around for help. Finally gets the attention of a young man who has both legs and signals for him to come on. And the young man arrives and reads intently what the boy in the wheelchair is saying. And he looks up at Ken and he says, Ken, this boy is telling you he doesn't want you to leave him. He wants you to stay longer. He wants you to stay long enough so he can memorize your faith. So when he meets you again in heaven, he can thank you again for bringing him into his wheelchair. Ken Baring said, in that instant, I moved to phase 4 of my life, which I call service. Oh, it isn't about me and accumulation. It's about them and contribution. And happiness arrived instantly and has never left. Ken Baring flew home, started his own wheelchair foundation, and is in the midst of giving his billions of dollars away, having discovered what the true essence of existence is. Service, caring, contribution, leadership. You can make a difference if you decide to. You can do great work if you decide to. You can do anything you want if you can once decide to place yourself in a position to succeed, accumulate all of the conditions necessary for your growth. You can achieve great things in your life. I wish you luck. Have a great conference. Cheers.